Hey guys, and welcome to another Escape Wheel watch review. Today we're going to be looking at the Phylida Nautilus Homage. So you can pick these up on the AliExpress official Phylida store for, I believe it's $70 and $90 depending on which movement you get. And for that money, you're getting a pretty good package. You're getting a full 316L stainless steel bracelet and case, sapphire crystal, screw down crown. I believe it's 30 meters of water resistance. And then an automatic movement. You either get a Miota or the DG2813. So, yeah, I think for that, it's a pretty good value. And I've had a couple Nautiluses on the channel before. So here's the Daidun, and we'll kind of bring that in and kind of compare it here and there throughout the review. And yeah, let's. I think we should just jump right in. So first things first, start off with the dimensions. So measuring at a diagonal here, it is 40 millimeters. Bezel is 38.3, and all the way across the flat here is 44.4. You got a thickness of 10.5, which is nice and thin, and then the lug to lug is 44.5. So it's yeah, I mean the lug to lug doesn't matter too much on this because it's an integrated bracelet, and these bracelets kind of hold this shape. So they do, I mean, you can squeeze a fairly thin wrist on this thing. So, yeah, the lug to lug is pretty short usually on these things. So it's no different than any of the other Nautilus Homages out there. And I think because of that, it wears really good. So I'm going to go outside right now and throw this on the wrist for you. So here it is on my 7.5 inch wrist. It looks really good. It sits pretty flat still. Very comfortable. Really nice. Lots and lots of bling on that bracelet. Yeah, I think it looks really good. Let's get it into some sunlight here, and you can see the sunburst effect to it. See, it's still pretty subtle. It's not a super bright, glaring sunburst, but yeah, it is a sunburst dial. Even in some direct sunlight, you can see it's pretty hard to read. There's no AR coating on this thing, but most of the time, it's perfectly legible. No big deal. But it looks really, really good. Let's go back inside and get back to the review. All right, so let's talk about the case finishing on this. So we're going to zoom in really nice here, nice and close. So you got a vertical brushing on this top bezel here, vertical brushing on the top of the case. On the sides, it's a really interesting case finishing. So you have a horizontal brushing on the sides of the lugs here. You kind of have these brushed tops to these, I guess, faux crown guards. And then you've got this nice little polish piece here. And then the sides to this are also polished, and the bottom edge of that bezel also polished. So it does have the two-piece case design. I did try and remove some of these screws, and they just spin. They don't do anything. So I don't think it's an actual two-piece, but I'm really not sure. So it's an interesting case design, that's for sure. It's almost like if you took these two screws out, this whole bezel and these little crown guard things would lift right off. So that's kind of what you're looking at. And I mean, it definitely looks like it is a two-piece case, but I couldn't get it to separate. So just keep that in mind. And the crown side, you do have a polished, unsigned crown here at 3 o'clock. It's a little tiny crown, but it works fine. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And talk about the case back real quick. Not a whole lot to talk about. It's completely sterile case back. It's circular brushing with a polished edge around the outside, and it's got just your typical notches for a case back removal tool. Yeah, no problems with it. Looks fine on my end. But yeah, overall, really nicely done. And on the bracelet, again, you've got center polish links here, vertical brushing all around, and you get these nice little polished chamfers on the bracelet, looking really good. We'll get into some more detail on this bracelet in a little bit. But overall, I think the case finishing on this is really good. Kind of what I expect from Phylida. They do awesome case finishings for the price. So really happy with this one. The crystal on this thing, got a new toy here. So we're going to test this out. So I got a Diamond Selector 2. And there you go. It is sapphire crystal. So that's nice to see. And just for reference, we'll bring in the Daidun, and it is just mineral. So yeah, nice to see an actual sapphire crystal. The dial on this thing is absolutely gorgeous. It's a very dark sunburst blue. It's almost like a fume dial, so it's got a brighter blue in the middle and then a really dark blue, almost black on the outer edge. And then it is a sunburst. I'll try and get some sunburst here. So you can kind of see some sunburst right there. It's a pretty subtle sunburst, I'd say, but it's really a pretty dial. And zooming way in here, you can see the applied Phylida text there, and then automatic at the 6 o'clock position. You have a beautiful teak pattern on the dial, applied indices at all the hour positions, double applied at the 12 o'clock, and then you've got a chamfered date window here. It's not an applied date window, and then you've got these little tiny dots all the way around as the minute track. Really nicely done. I don't think anything is off center. Yeah, I think it looks really good. They did a good job on this dial. The applied indices are done really well. The hands on this are much nicer than the Diadem hands. They really catch the light nicely. And everything on this dial, all the indices and the hands are lumed. So I'm going to pop up a lume shot. Unfortunately, you can see it against the Diadem on the right-hand side, and then kind of the benchmark San Martin sub on the left. The Phylida is the first one to go, so I was a little disappointed with the lume on this thing. So yeah, I'm kind of surprised it's not as at least on par with the Diadem. So let's talk about the movement inside. So this one that is running the DG2813, it is a hacking and hand winding movement. So pull it out to the third position. Oops. Pull it out to the third position. You can see the second hand stops. Push it in, hand wind it. I've had plenty of these DG2813 movements, and I've been completely happy with each one of them. So I actually prefer them over the Miyotas, and yeah, I've just never had an issue with it. So yeah, the specs on the DG movement, I believe is the same as the Miyota. I'm pretty sure it's a Miyota clone. They just added hacking on it. So and that's something you don't get with the Miyota. And also the rotor on this thing, it is a unidirectional rotor. Let's see if I can get it to spin for you. But it's not nearly as loud as the Miyota. So I always tend to go for this movement over the Miyota, especially since it's like $20 cheaper, and I've never had a problem with them. So the second hand ticks 6 ticks per second. It's got about 40 hours of power reserve. It hacks and it hand winds. You don't really need a whole lot else, right? It's a nice, reliable, in my experience, very reliable and fairly accurate movement. So yeah, I've been pretty happy with this thing. And like I mentioned earlier, it is operated by this 3 o'clock crown here. It is a screw down crown. It's a little tiny crown, but it's got plenty of grip on it, and the screw down action is just perfect. I got no problems with it. So let's talk about this bracelet. So the bracelet obviously is a little bit different, unique. It is 24.5 millimeters wide, and then it tapers down to 16.5 at the clasp. It does come with thinner links than the Diadem, which is something I noticed. So I have them here side by side. You can see the links are they're almost half as wide as or as thick as the Diadem ones. But yeah, really nicely done. Again, I'm going to bring in the Diadem here. You can see the Diadem. It's got a nice polished edge on this thing, on the links to the bracelet. On the Phylida one, it's actually kind of scalloped, and a detail I really wasn't expecting. Looks really good. It catches the light nicely. It sparkles nicely. All these center links here, nicely polished. I got no real problems with them. Maybe this first one is a little, you can kind of see the lines on it there, but the Diadem's the same way. And yeah, I've got no big complaints with the bracelet. It is sized with the friction pins, as you can see here. I had no problem sizing it. The clasp on this thing is a different story. It's a unique one. So you got this little flip over here. So you lift that up, and then you should be able to release these things. And there's no real good way to do it. You can either grab it from the sides here. You can also just kind of press up on this here, and it'll pop up. And the other one, you just pull it out. I believe it's just these sides here getting wedged in here, and that's what kind of holds it in place. I've got no real complaints with the operation of it. It could be, I wish this little flip was a little bit more solid. It hasn't bent yet, but I feel like every time I open it like this, I'm going to bend it. But yeah, it's held strong for me. It works every time. So overall, no real big complaints. These little buttons here, they do stick out just ever so slightly. Let's see if you can see here. That one's pretty good. This one here sticks out a little bit. I haven't noticed it catch on anything yet. So yeah, again, not a huge complaint, I guess. I actually like this more than the Daidun one, because the Daidun one has these little buttons here, and those things kind of dig into my wrist personally. So yeah, I actually prefer this one, I think. But yeah, overall, pretty happy with the bracelet on it. It's a stiff one, like you see that with these things, but it's comfortable. It doesn't pull my hair or anything like that. So overall, I'm pretty happy with the bracelet. Pretty happy with the watch overall. It's been really, really nice to have. So there you have it. That is the Phylida Nautilus Homage. If you're interested in picking one of these up, I'm going to leave a link down in the description. That's to the official Phylida store. They usually have the cheapest prices, so don't go anywhere else. That is an affiliate link. I really appreciate you guys using my affiliate links. It really helps the channel grow. I've got a couple new pieces coming in just because of the use of my affiliate link. So thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate it. If you want to see some more pictures of this, I'm not really sure what to tell you. This one has actually already been sold. So I just kind of realized the Nautilus is not my style. So if you guys enjoyed the video or found it useful, found it helpful in any way, leave me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't. I really appreciate it. Anything helps. And if you guys want to leave a question or comment down below, please do. I will do my absolute best to get back to you guys. I think that's about it, though. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. See ya.